Hello everybody, my name is Marlen Wehner and I'm really proud to be part of Togethernet 24 hours. My special thanks go to JCI Finland to making all this happen. Together we will go the next roughly 55 minutes and will follow the question how to be present without presence. It's about facilitating high-impact trainings in an online environment. Let's find out who will accompany you in this exciting journey. My name is Marlen Wehner and I'm 32 years old and I'm living with my spouse and my two dogs here in Würzburg, which is in Bavaria, Germany. I've been a member since 2013 and since 2014 I am a trainer here in JCI. By now, I am the current Skills Development Director of JCI Germany and facing the same challenges as a lot of you may do as well in these times, because we cannot give in-person trainings right now. And this is a challenge we're facing, and I am definitely not a digital trainer. I will tell you later on where I come from. And I've been training entrepreneurs and let's say young leaders now for years with a special interest in analog and in, you will find it out. And yes, I am a successful debater and communication is all what it's all about in my world. And I am an absolute flip chart enthusiast. You might see now that the digital environment is not my natural surrounding, but if I can do it, you can do it anyways. So in this training, you can expect that I will not fake anything. There will be no cutouts. I will not try to cover anything. So it's just me. It's just my experiences. They might not be perfect, but it's what I collected in the last days and in the last weeks. And I would be very happy if you could add your own knowledge, if you could add your own experiences as well, so we can build a better future together. And so we can always embed our, let's say, our possibilities and our abilities to conduct online trainings. So you see, my passion is very much into analog and is very much into very personal building a relationship trainings. And now let's find out how we can change this environment into a digital one and still do not fail our goals of the trainings. The course objectives. At the end of this course, you guys will understand the interaction of the elements on the context of training. You will know how online environment affects those elements of the training, and you will have experienced best practice to successfully facilitate high impact trainings in an online environment. Again, this is not the full list. This has no idea of being perfect. But as you will notice in this training, being imperfect is better than being cancelled. So let's find out what are the elements in the context of training I was talking about. The first element we are looking closely to will be the trainer. We will talk about some specialties of what affects you as a trainer, what is wanted from you as a trainer and demanded from you as a trainer. And looking at this situation right now, there is no audience at all. I'm just looking at myself, which is kind of weird, as you might imagine. And still, it is so important to be on point and to be present to deliver the message you want to get across. And I will share some best practice insights on this as well. Second is the audience. That's what it's all about. It's not about me and looking convincing or something or whatever. It's all about you. It's all about your knowledge and what you need to know. And I try to anticipate what you could need in this special situation we're all in together. And I try to give you some insights and some best practices on succeed in digital training. And what could these insights be? They are, of course, in my presentation, and this part is very specific in an online environment. We can't just put the in-person training ideas and methods into an online environment. It won't work. So we need to find a way to set the goals, to follow these goals in an online environment and still make sure that you have the right learnings you're supposed to have. And you see, in between those three circles, there's also a space. And this space is the interaction between trainer and audience. We will look closer to how can we manage the audience and how can we have interaction in a digital way. Then there is the interaction between the audience and the presentation on the topic we're presenting on, which is basically in exercises, and we will find out how to exercise in a digital way and how to transform the methods we use in an in-person training into a digital training. And then there is the trainer, the relation between the trainer and the presentation on the topic. And hereby we will use the technical utilities, and we will look closely to that. But let's spoil, I'm not an IT expert. Whatever works, works. And I will just let you know what works for me, and you may find out what works for you as well. But there's still something missing, isn't it? There's something in the middle that's still missing, and that's the most important part. It's the relationship between those three parts. It's the relationship between the trainer and the audience and the presentation. And yes, for me, it all comes down to love. Love your audience, love your presentation, and build a relationship so you can develop together. And as you may even have a clue, it's not that easy building that relationship in an online environment. But I really want to stress that point because it's really important to support this relationship so everybody can identify him or herself with the topic and the group and the development. So this is something we really need to have an eye on. If we go into the next slides and go into the next, now we're about 50 minutes, I'd say. Let's go, guys. First, the trainer. Yes, you might watch this video because you are a trainer. Maybe you are a leader in your company, or you are a leader in real life. And for me, and this is a very personal understanding, being a trainer means being a leader. And my definition of being a leader is very close to Mary Kay Ash's interpretation of the name leader. So let's start with this quote to have a common foundation. Leaders teach, they motivate, they care. Leaders make sure that the way to success is always broad enough and straight enough for others to follow. And that is your task, guys. So it's not the audience's fault if they can't follow you. It's not the audience's fault if you're not well prepared. It is yours. Never mind, I will guide you. And let's find out how we can do this successfully in a digital surrounding. I discovered some challenges. They came up when I first was in touch with digital trainings. And those main challenges, it's not a full list. If you have different, let's work on them together. I don't know. So, but those are the challenges. They came up for me in the first few days. A problem for me, as I experience right now, because I don't get any feedback from you, the reason is that I can't see you. You're not there for me. And even if this was a live course, it wasn't so easy to see everybody, because there are softwares where you just see the people speaking, which is mainly me, or there are softwares where you just see some of the people on the side or something like that. So it's always a question of the technical utilities and the software you use, but it's also a question, am I able to observe what's happening in this group? And it's much heavier to observe what's happening in this group if you don't see them in front of you. Why is that? Because you have no nonverbal feedback. You have no sighs. You have no like, you know, you have no laughters. You have no mornings. You have no eye contact to the people you are training. And this can be really hard for some trainers, which are trying to make a relationship and build a relationship to the participants. And also, if we say you must be well prepared to conduct an effective online training, there are moments you won't be prepared. There are moments and questions that are coming up you have never thought about and how to solve them in a digital surrounding. So yes, expect the unexpected, I know, but we're not JD masters, so let's face it. Let's find out how we can solve those problems of improvisation. And yes, I am, maybe you are as well, I'm really used to in-person trainings, and I have to start a new mindset to be successful in digital trainings. But let's not talk about problems, let's talk about solutions. And some solutions for you as well might be those that I found out for myself. First of all, don't do it alone. It's a long journey, and the best way to go through a long journey is to have a partner with you, aka an assistant, aka a friend, aka a co-trainer. Please ask for help, because if you have someone else and he or she doesn't have to be in the same room, they don't even have to stay in the same country. You just need someone that supports you virtually. And may it be by checking all the chats. Are there any questions in the chat? By observing all the faces, someone that's not following the presentation itself, but the facial expressions of the participants. It's super useful. Or that observes the reactions by, is there someone who wants to say something? Are there some questions? You name it. But doing this all alone is almost impossible. So I would really, really ask you to look for an assistant. This will save lives of online trainers, maybe someday. Then next, if you don't get interaction, if you don't get feedback, then ask for it. It's as easy as that. Ask for feedback via maybe even small reactions, such as everybody agreeing, just say yay. Is everybody in? Please nod your heads, or shake your, whatever, you name it. Or maybe just type yes into the chat if you don't want everybody to talk, or if you don't see everybody, or something like that. There are various situations where you can use this small feedbacks to get people back and get feedback from them. And also, if you have questions or you want to start a discussion, use it directly so you get the people involved and you raise awareness. So like, Marlen, what's your opinion on that? Just an example. And if you're not a JD master such as I am, then please be honest. Be honest to yourself and be honest to the members that are following your presentation. Postpone the answer. You don't have to improvise if you don't feel well with it. And please keep your promise and answer them after the training, answer them after your presentation. If you can't, answer them immediately. And let's agree on one thing, one important thing. We are all in this together, and we are all learning here right now, and we all will make mistakes. So please be kind to yourself. Please be kind to each other. Only practice makes perfect. And still, and I will repeat it more times this training, an imperfect training or an imperfect presentation still is better than a canceled one. Let's look closely to the next item in our training elements. And this is, you remember it, right? The audience. So this is what the fuss is all about. We're here just for you. We're here 24 hours just for you, the audience. And may it be just a personal impression, but In the last trainings or in the last presentations or meetings I've been, people were highly engaged because you have not so much distraction, you know. You can't go out, you wouldn't be you wouldn't be rather anywhere else. You decide to be here and you spend your time with me, even though I'm not even here, to learn and to grow and to be better afterwards. And this is something that you have been chosen. And this is why I chose this little quote for you from Brian Herbert, which is an author or a sci-fi author. And he says, the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice. And you made this choice. And be aware that everybody who is attending your trainings, that everybody who is attending your presentations made this choice. And if they forget, feel free to remind them. They are here for their free willingness to learn. And they are here to support you and you're here to support them. Feel free to remind. So what could be the challenges with the audience? The main challenges I have discovered so far are that the audience can be distracted. They're not sitting in front of you. You're not walking around, maybe, as I do very often. You can't grab their attention, you know. You just have to give in that they are sitting in their living rooms or don't know, maybe in their bedrooms, who knows, or outside in the garden, and just anything can happen. There can be a dog, there can be the kid coming in because schools are closed, there can be hubby who just is hungry, who knows, you know. And because of this, you never know what the next distraction might be and you cannot manage it. So accept it. And it's not that easy to keep up the awareness of the audience. And in addition to that comes another fact of online trainings. In the most cases, they last longer than in-person trainings. Imagine if you get a group work, you can just send them in a corner and say, yes, discuss 5 minutes and then come back. And if they don't understand it, they can ask their neighbor, hey, did you understand it? No, I didn't. Who did? You know those situations. And this is just impossible in an online environment because there is no neighbor, and they may not be brave enough to ask you. So make sure that you explain briefly and that you are understood. But I will come to the solutions of these challenges right after that. And of course, if you have a digital surrounding, if you have an online environment, you might invite the world to be part how you share your wisdom. Feel free, but be sure that a big audience is almost not to handle. It is almost impossible to address everybody there because bigger is not better. If you want to keep them involved and if you want to make sure everybody has the same success and reaches the same goals that you wanted them to reach, then it is important to address everybody in the same way and in the same manner. And this is quite a problem of online trainings, and I have a very easy solution for that one. And it's also seen that we have different group dynamics. Of course, the groups are not in the same room. They may also have those difficulties in interaction and building relationships and trusting each other and everything. And so we see that they go through the same stadiums of the group development process again and again and again, and sometimes never come into a performance or something like that. But you may know it's not a group development course, and you just have to be aware of that dynamics in the groups. And please make sure that everybody is heard, because in a digital environment, also shy participants or calmer ones can be much easier being overlooked by you. So, and here are some solutions on those challenges. My best practice ideas on that, as I said, you can invite the world, but you shouldn't. If it is a training and not a lecture, then please limit the number of participants and please mind the schedule. So it might be helpful to have a big clock where you can see the time all the time, that you have like any kind of feedback, because you are looking all the time with your own small picture at the top of your presentation, and you might not look left or might not look right because it's distracting anyways, because there's nobody. But please make sure that you're on track and make sure that you're in time. It might also be helpful to plan more breaks than you would do in an in-person training, because it's much more demanding to follow and to keep up the attention to your presentation. And it's useful for the participants and the audience as well if you would repeat the main content, because if the kid came in and asked for food, they will be really glad if you would say them what they missed in the past 2 minutes. And it must not be in a very offensive way or something like that. It's just making sure that you repeat the most important parts at some point in the training or at some point in your presentation, because the brain loves repetition. It might be also helpful if you would implement some fun interactions and use activating language to engage the participants. Not just who wants to say something, but Marlen, please share your thoughts on that one. And if you don't want to oversee someone, and if you don't want to overlook someone, or if you don't want to miss someone or want to tame someone down who's talking a lot, as you have in your normal trainings as well, in your in-person trainings, let's not say normal. What is normal these days? Just make a list and make sure you've addressed every participant and that everybody had the possibility to speak. This is really important. Please make them feel heard and make them feel that they could contribute to the training. And that is my suggestion. I would say you should ask for structured feedback in the end to get better anytime and every time, because you don't get the feedback, and I wouldn't get it if I wouldn't ask for it, because there is no one right now at the other end. And sometimes those meetings or those trainings are just canceled by, okay, bye. And everybody is straight in their own world, back to their own world. So please make sure you get a feedback. This is a gift and you should not let them get away without giving you that. Next, the third part, we were talking about the trainer and we were talking about the audience, and now we come to the third part, the presentation. The presentation itself is the part I would say that changes the most, because you can't just put those things you were doing in the in-person trainings in an online environment. It won't work. And this is why I really want to talk about how to transfer it into an online environment, and we will learn about how to transfer exercises, for example, afterwards. For now, we have the quote by Lily Walters, who is a very famous author and world-class speaker, who says, the success of your presentation will be judged not by the knowledge you send, but what the listener receives. And the reception and the way we can make sure that the participant and the listener receives the best and what you are intending to send him, this is what we are going to talk about now. I found 5 main challenges talking about the presentation in an online environment. The thing that I discovered, and this is really something for me, it might be not that problem for you if you're more used to technical exchange, or if you have in your real life much more online meetings, and if you have had them before Corona. Now I only have online meetings, of course. This is that it's the thing is that it's not that personal. I experience those meetings as not as personal as in-person trainings, and this is something that's lacks a lot. It's also that you don't have a lot of body language from me. You just see a part of my body, and I try, of course, to use gestures. But if you are in a real training situation, I would have much more stage and could use a lot of more body language. And as we heard before about the audience and the challenges for the presenter or for the trainer, you get a lot of more feedback by the body language of your participants as well. So the presenter lacks a lot of body language. And this is something that is quite close to that point, is that the presentation is not at the same level of attention as the presenter. I am somewhere in the corner, don't know where, like that one maybe at your screen, and you see me just really small, and the presentation is like everywhere. So it may occur, or the perception might be that the presentation is more important than the presenter. As I stated before, presentation, audience, and trainer are at the same level, so they are at the same, of course, the same level of importance as well. But what you see is something different, and that might be a challenge as well. And it also may be that you don't have a proper environment to give a training like that or give a presentation like that at home. You don't have a conference room, or you don't have a clean wall behind you. But let's say this gray wall, and I repeat it, is still better than a canceled meeting. And yeah, it may be that you always have your kids around or something. Just make sure you can do the best, but perfection is not our aim. And it also is possible that in your presentation, technical problems may occur. Let's see how we can solve that ones. My best practice ideas on that one is that you should make more use of your voice and use more breaks to make it easier to follow you and to give the participants the possibility to follow you, because it is transmitted via the laptop or something like that, and the brain is not used to that. Think about it. Our brains are like 70,000 years old, and they're not used to talk to people who are 3 centimeters big and who are on a flat screen. There are some information our brain really loved to have and wouldn't get in that concern. So please mind that. And use eye contact. One thing might be that you will put your camera picture, your own picture, pretty close to the camera. So my picture right now, I'm looking at myself talking, which is weird enough, is pretty close to the camera. So bad, I have some eyes I can look in, at least they are mine. I would love to look in yours, but it's not possible. I have another trick for those who don't like to look in their own eyes, and I'm not a narcissist, but it works. And I will show you this other trick in the following slide. Then I have another suggestion, that is enrich the presentation with fun and engaging exercises. We will have this in the following as well. How can you do that? This is also helpful to enrich your presentation, not just using slides, but also you may find it useful to use videos. You may find it useful to have another presenter, someone who will support you. That just changes the way people perceive the presentation, and this wakes up the interest again. And if it's possible, and in my case it's not, use more space. You might have the equipment and the place and everything that you not just have to remain sitting. And for me, it's not that easy just to remain sitting and giving a training, which is really much more a lecture right now. But of course, we're talking about trainings. And as I mentioned before, You don't have the same body language possibilities, and you don't have the same stage, as I say it. And this is an idea of what you could build if you had the space. So please please feel engaged to build your own stage at home. Why not? Imperfection is better than a cancelled course. And that is one super easy to follow advice, but it's something that is made wrong in so many situations. Please close your bottles and don't have open glasses around you. You see, I do gestures all the time. I could just ruin like everything here if I had a full glass of water next to me. So please set your environment, and as you would do it in an in-person training, set your stage. It is yours. So I said it before, and I will say it again because I like to say it, and I want you to remember it. Imperfect environment is better than a cancelled course. Please just start it. And right now I'm using Zoom. So if you have Zoom as well, and we're talking about the technical surroundings as well, but it's combined to the presentation. In Zoom, there's also the possibility to have a virtual background. So you could just make a projection of whatever, your company logo, or you sitting in the Alps or something like that. There's a lot of possibilities. You could use just to project a professional surrounding. And please try it in advance. So it doesn't work anytime. You need a really good, just one color background, or a very good camera, or just, a green screen or something, or you can forget it. So, but a white, or in this case, a gray wall works as well. And here's something that is said easier than done. That is, have always a plan B. I know if you are starting and if you're new in that, you are happy if you have a plan A. I know it. But the thing is, if you just go on, and if you have more experiences, and you will gather experiences, of course, then the thing will be that you will, of course, also collect new insights, and you will collect new learnings, and you can be prepared for your plan B. And you don't have to do all the mistakes on your own. You can talk to other trainers, you can talk to other people who've made those mistakes, and what are their best practice ideas. I would be interested to find out more. And here's the thing with the eye contact. If you don't like looking at yourself talking, here's a little one that I can suggest as well. And this is simple and working. It's just a smiley posted behind your camera. This smiley reminds you of two things. First, where to look to, not here, not there, somewhere in the presentation or something, but straight to you guys. And it reminds me to smile. This is something that's not too hard for me, but there might be others in this world, I heard about them, that don't find it that easy to smile all the time, and this is a nice reminder to do so. And the smiley always keeps the focus, you know? And as we said before, if you think that I'm talking directly to you, you will be much more involved, I hope. Next. I was talking about the trainer, I was talking about the audience, and last one we heard about the presentation. Now we combine those three parts to each other. First combination is the trainer and the audience. Their combination point where they meet is the interaction. And we have a motto and some suggestions on how to manage the interaction successfully. The motto I set for this one is get them involved, but be ready to manage the audience. What does it mean? Well, it means then you're not just here to have a lecture. This is why I don't call it the greatest lecture course in the world. This is why I call it high impact presentations and trainings. And this won't work without interaction. And this won't work without successful interaction. And successful means that we reach the goals we stated in the beginning of the course, so that we can reach our objectives. There is just one suggestion first. I would say the smartest thing to do in the beginning is to ask all the participants to mute themselves. This gives you, of course, the focus, and it gives you the possibility to be the only one that's talking, and they are listening to you. And it also lowers at once the level of noise in the background. So you should ask them to mute themselves, but always keep in mind, if they are muted, they may be more distracted because they don't think they are heard. So it always has two sides, and but it helps to calm down the group, and you may remind them to unmute themselves if they want to talk. Okay, this happens like in every online meeting, several times. So to keep the interaction going and to get it more personal, I would suggest you to read and speak the names. And I would say this will will raise, what a strange word. This will raise the engagement of the individuals that are following your presentation. And yes, it also helps you to direct the questions you are stating. So if you want to say, Marlene, please, would you share your opinion on this with us? Then I know I am the one that's allowed to talk now, and the others know I am the one that's allowed to talk now. So it helps to direct the focus. And one other possibility to facilitate interaction is using the chat. Like almost every, I would say every software that is on market that you can use for online meetings right now also offers a chat function. Please make use of it. And this can help to collect questions. You don't have to answer them immediately in that case. That's the good one. And you can follow the schedule in your own structure and not be distracted by questions of the audience. And it also is in the direction, please get the help from your assistants. Your co-trainer or assistant can collect those questions. He or she can jump in and say, hey, Marlene, there's a question. That's one on the topic right now. Could you please listen, answer, read, whatever? This is something that is super helpful as well. And it makes sure no one is overheard. So you don't forget to answer anything. If you have it all written down in the chat, then you will not forget it. But interaction with the chat needs rules. Make clear that you've been talking about them. So people will not talk about their lunch in this chat, and they will not say, oh, it's so boring in this chat. They're supposed to write questions there. They're supposed to answer if they are asked for feedback there, something like that. So you need much more rules in an online environment than I would say you need in an in-person training. Because in an in-person training, guys, I just look at the participants and they are silent. But this is not possible because there is no social connection between the two of us. They can be super annoying, and I can't do like nothing. I can mute them some maybe, but it's, this is really harsh, and to throw them out of the course is also really hard. And this is why I would say, please be safe and not sorry, and to make some rules. And if you're engaging them to discuss, please be careful, because you also need rules for the discussion itself. You have to be aware that you are the moderator of this discussion. So it won't get an own dynamic. Please make sure that you moderate the discussion and that you are the one that is in charge. that is the last one that I want to give you across for the part of interaction. Let's look at the exercises. My motto for exercises: preparation is everything. If you want to have an audience that is engaged together with the topic and the presentation, and so the topic that we're talking about in the training, then you have to make sure that you have proper exercises. And what do I mean with proper? It is important to know as a trainer what are the objectives of each and every exercise. You cannot just take an exercise from an in-person training and put it online and think, okay, it might figure out, it will work. No, it won't. Please make sure that you know what's the goal, what's the aim of this specific exercise, and then think of something how you can reach this goal online as well. And it might be useful that you prepare handbooks, and it might be useful to ask the participants to print them in advance. It also raises the engagement because they have to prepare themselves. They are in the topic right before the training as well. And it's also something that just is on an organizational level very helpful for you, so they don't struggle looking for something up and you don't get the distraction in the training itself, but they have to be prepared. Another idea could be, if you are planning a training a lot of time in advance, why not sending them stuff? Like, don't know, you want to work with Lego? Send them Lego. I don't mind. Do whatever you want to, do whatever you feel free to, and be creative, because times like these, they force us to be creative, and this is so exciting. I'm really excited to find out what your solutions on this topic may be. I would suggest, if you're using Zoom, for example, or find out if your programs or softwares allow this as well, if you want to have group work, then you might use separate rooms. They are called breakout rooms. I don't know which software offers them, but I know that Zoom does in the paid version. Know that. And please think of an effective way to split up in groups before the training. So think of how can you select the groups and everything. This is something that can bring a lot of a lot of trouble in the training itself if you just think right in the spot you need it. So please prepare this as well, how to split the groups. And then I just can encourage you, as I said before, be creative. Use creative resources for the group work. And I have 3 suggestions, and I'm excited to find out what yours might be. So here we go. First one, I love to use, and you might have experienced this one before, but they have some really cool new possibilities. So I would like to remind you of Mentimeter or Menti.com. On Menti.com, you can use some really interesting resources. You can use online presentations, and on the right side you will see there are like question types. You can use quiz competitions, for example, for a little challenge in the training. I don't know, whatever, you're free to do so. There are rankings. You can ask them multiple choice questions. You can make, such as I did here for the beginning of the training. It's great just to set the topic. Ask them what they know about something. Ask them about their opinion on something. Ask the audience on their, experiences, expectations, you name it. And here's just a suggestion on online training is it either boring or is it exciting? I don't know. And you can use this resource and start a discussion out of it. So this is something I really appreciate. It's super simple. It is free. So these are 2 really important things. It's simple and it's free. And you can enrich your presentation a lot by exercises from Menti.com. And They are used online. This Menti.com is used, I would say, for 2 years, maybe 3 right now. I'm experiencing this in several presentations or keynotes or something. And those keynote speakers always ask you to use your devices, grab your mobile phone and answer the question. And this is kind of strange because they give away the focus of the audience. And if we use those in an online context, it doesn't matter because they're already online. So you keep them in the natural surrounding they're already in. This is something I find really cool. And I would just encourage you to use it, try it out, try and error, find out the right ways. It's super cool and it's super easy. And in this word cloud, for example, you see immediately as soon as someone typed them in, they're plopping up and it's really, you know, it's moving and everything. It's really cool. Next one is so-called stormboard.com. This is something you might see at the first look. It's pretty close to just a digital version of Post-its and a Post-it board. And this is just perfect for matching expectations. You can use it in the beginning of the training and in the end of the training to check up, or did we fit all your expectations? You can use it for brainstorming, you can use it for interactive group work, you can use it for discussions, you can just grab all the information that are floating into the room and put them there. Your assistant can fill it. It's great, but it's limited if it's free. I get along with that. It's okay for me, but you may choose if it's okay for you as well. And I bet there are several likewise things in the World Wide Web you can use as well. So feel free. This is just a suggestion that works for me. The last one is also a simple one, also a free one, and it's not that let's say it doesn't look that nice as those storm boards, but it's pretty much used in the same way. And this is a simple Google Doc. You can use Google Docs as well, just prepare them for the group work. You can assign each task to a group work. You can prepare one sheet that is with one task and is assigned to one group, for example. And they have to fill in the group work itself. They go in the separate room, they prepare the group work, they come back and they present it. And you have already everything written down so you can share it with the other participants and everything. So this is a really simple way and can be, of course, you can work with colors, you can work with pictures, I don't know. You can use a lot of ways to make this more interesting. So Google Docs is another way that works out for a lot of trainers, and I've heard a lot of good things about Google Docs. I don't use it that much, but a lot of people are really convinced, and this is why I didn't want to keep it secret. The last one, technical utilities. I said that there is also a space between the presentation itself and the trainer, if you remember that. And this is how you and I can conduct the training virtually and digitally, and therefore I need some technical utilities. I said before, I'm not an IT expert. Whatever works for me, and I'm super fine if something else works for you. And this is why my motto is know your enemy, aka the IT. And whatever works for you, the only task is get to know it. So please prepare yourself. Try out, compare the existing softwares, use whatever is possible and suitable for you. And so you can choose the one that is the best for you. Just make sure, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And then you can choose maybe Zoom, maybe MS Teams, GoToMeeting, whatever. Another thing, I'm also not a data security expert. Please make sure if you have anything that is confidential that you have a special view on that one. I cannot and I will not make any suggestions and any statements on that one. I don't have any secret presentations I will give, but if you have any confidential or any sensitive content, please make sure you mind this point as well. Then double check your mic, check the video function, and please not just 2 minutes prior to the meeting. This is something that is super useful. This can keep away a lot of stress from you. So this is a suggestion you should really take serious. And this is all the main level. Okay, now we're talking about basic. This is the level I work on right now, because I wasn't prepared on the zombie apocalypse. You know, I wasn't prepared on this extraordinary world we live right in. But some people are, and there will be a world after Corona crisis. And in this case, you can be prepared for professional online trainings. And for this one, I made some suggestions. And this is, you can use additional light. There are such light rings if you saw them. If you're an Insta star, you might have them already. And these light sources make it much more professional. Right now, I just have 2 windows, and I hope it's light enough for that purpose. You also can use a webcam with a tripod. That helps you to make your stage much bigger. That can help you to move further from your presentation screen and everything. And this can give you more space to have a, let's say, to have your own presentation, to be a more convincing presenter. And also a professional microphone might be a solution if you want to do it on a professional level, such as a microphone you have on your ear and in your chest, on your cheek, or maybe something, I don't know, professional microphones, you know what I mean. This is something you can put your online training on the next level. So who knows? I'm just in the start. Who knows? I'm excited to find out what technical utilities do you use, and what are your experiences on that one. So please write me. Last but not least, I was talking about the center of everything. And I was talking about that in the end, it comes all down to love. This may sound a little bit too much, but 2 or 3 honest words in this situation. I have never ever been more aware of the importance of personal contact with people than I have been now. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone with that. And of course, we're just talking about online training right now. I know that, but I'm sure that the relationship that you as a trainer and you as a presenter build between you, the audience, and the presentation, that is the soul of your presentation. And I'm totally convinced that this is the biggest challenge we have to solve if we're talking about an online environment. Because we cannot be together, because we cannot share the same room and the same air and the same experiences with that. It is much, much harder to build a relationship. And I'm also convinced that the relationship has a fundamental meaning for the overall success of a training. And I don't have the solution that suits every situation, but I want you, and so will I, to be aware and to think about a solution for this one. Because this is so much beyond microphones and webcams. And I have another quote I want to share with you in that. And this is, in a world of algorithms, hashtags, and followers, know the true importance of human connection. Guys, in my heart, I am with you right now, I hope. I am grateful that we are able to share this one. I'm grateful that me and my loved ones are healthy. I hope the same for you. Stay brave, stay healthy, and let's be in this together and make the best out of everything. For now, I just can say we're experiencing the context of training, such as the trainer, the audience, the presentation. We've been talking about interaction, exercise, technical utilities, and we've been talking about the relationship. We've been talking about best practices, and I'm happy to hear from you. If you found this valuable, then please let me know. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I'm really looking forward to your questions and to your feedback via training@wjd.de. All the best for you. And I hope we will see in person at some point. So stay healthy and bye-bye, guys.